Coming to you live and direct from the Newsfirst newsroom, a very good evening and welcome to Primetime News. I'm Mahina Bongzo.
And I'm Madhushka Balasuriya. Let's start off a look with your headlines.
National Oil Anointing Ceremony under the auspices of the President. The implementation of the Prevention of Money Laundering Act comes under the spotlight.
දැන් බෝලේ තියෙන්නේ පොලිස්පතිතුමාගේ නීතිපතිතුමාගේ අතේ.
සම්බන්ධයෙන් අපි විමර්ශන සිදු කරනවා. විමර්ශන ගොනු නීතිපති වෙත බාර දෙනවා.
SLF's proposal to reform the electoral system likely tomorrow. A game of Elle in Athanagalla turns violent. 15 injured following acid attack.
The anointing of oil for the Sinhala and Hindu New Year was marked at the auspicious time of 9/6 this morning. The National Oil Anointing Ceremony was held in Polonnaruwa under the auspices of President Maithripala Sirisena.
The National Oil Anointing Ceremony was held at the Kanduruvela Jayanti Vihare in Polonnaruwa. The tradition of anointing oil dates back to ancient history with the blessing for long life and prosperity. This age-old Sri Lankan tradition is being accepted in lands far and wide where medical science has developed rapidly as the tradition is being used aimed at living a healthy life. Oil was anointed on the head of state today at the auspicious time by the chief incumbent of the Vihara, Venerable Kanduruvela Dhammapala Thero.
මගේ ආදරණීය ලක්ෂ ජනතාවට අනාත්ම සුබ වසරක් අවුරුද්දක් වේවායි.
I would like to wish all citizens a prosperous new year. Especially the unity amongst communities is of utmost importance when considering the dawn of the Sinhala Tamil New Year. I wish that the unity amongst the communities will increase in this new year. I also wish that hatred and deceitfulness will recede and love and affection will increase amongst the masses.
සියලුම ජනතාව තුළ ඉපදේවා කියලා මම ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරනවා.
Keeping with tradition, President Maithripala Sirisena anointed oil on the tusker of the Dimbulagala Aranya Senasanaya. The President also engaged in a cordial discussion with the locals who were present for the tradition and wished them well for the future. A large group attended the national event and became partakers of an initiative to keep alive an ancient tradition.
The custom of anointing oil was observed across the island as well today.
The Anunayakas of the Malvatu and Askari chapters anointed oil on the devotees at the Natha Devalaya at the temple of the sacred Tooth Relic in Kandy. The Chief Minister of the Central Province and others were present at the event. Anointing of oil took place at the Hunupitiya Gangarama temple at the auspicious time of 9:06 this morning under the auspices of Venerable Dr. Kirinde Asaji Thero and the Mahasangha.
After bathing for the new year and welcoming the new year, the first bath for the new year needs to be observed after the anointing of oil. This is an ancient tradition that we follow. We anoint this herbal oil on one's head and wish them long life and all goodwill without any issues.
The custom of anointing oil at the Kotte Rajama Vihara took place today under the auspices of the Mahasangha. A group including Deputy Minister Dr. Harsha De Silva were present at the event. The anointing of oil at the Bellanvilla Rajamaha Vihara took place under the patronage of the chief incumbent of the temple, Venerable Bellanvilla Vimalaratana Thero. Oil was also anointed on the two tuskers at the temple. This custom was also followed at the Kalaniya Rajamaha Vihara today with the participation of a large crowd. Another event to anoint oil took place at the Nigrodharama temple in Hatton today. The significance of this event was that religious leaders from all faiths were present at the event. Sri Lanka's indigenous community too observed the custom of anointing oil for the new year. The tradition was observed at the Kotabakini area in Damana under the auspices of the leader of the community, Uru Warige Vanilatto. Incidentally, this is the only custom followed by the indigenous community for the new year. The clothing and other items used by the deceased members of the community are placed at a location known as Hatma. The community visits this location and anoints oil on the items.
The importance of this location on this day is that we are engaged in the customary tradition of anointing oil. What we hope from this is that all the issues in the country be solved and good health spread all over.
Anointing of oil at the Elephant Orphanage in Pinnavala took place under the auspices of Minister of Sports and Tourism, Navin Disanayake. To mark the occasion, oil was anointed on 4 pachyderms at the Elephant Orphanage.
Newsfirst today inquired into the passenger transport facilities being provided to the public returning from their hometowns after the new year.
Our first stop today was a train transport made available to the commuters. Long distance and short distance train travel was hampered this morning. A similar situation was witnessed at the Gampa, Ganemulla and Kaluthura North train stations.
It was said that there will be trains, but there are no special trains. If the special trains operate, there will be a lesser crowd. I've been here for almost half an hour. There are no trains. We are civilian convenient. It was told in the news last night that there will be extra trains. The trains are late today. I've been here for almost half an hour. A train is yet to arrive.
Now, commuters in large numbers are expected to make their way back to the cities, concluding the New Year holidays. It was also reported that a sufficient amount of buses were not in operation for those returning back after the New Year.
Our provincial correspondents reported that there was a delay in long-distance and short-distance bus services today. Commuters who were severely inconvenienced by this delay shared these views with Newsfirst.
It was said that there will be extra buses. We are waiting in line. It's been 45 minutes since we've been here. There are no officials here. Everyone has gone home.
This was the situation at the Maharagama bus stand, where buses travelling on the Southern Expressway make a stop.
I've been here for more than an hour. There are no buses at all. There have been no buses for over an hour. There are no buses at all.
There was also a heavy traffic congestion reported on the access point in Mathura on the expressway.
According to the manager at the central bus stand in Petta, 850 SLTB buses are already in operation to facilitate commuters returning to major cities, while another 350 buses will be added tomorrow.
The committee appointed by the Sri Lanka Freedom Party to look into the electoral reforms will convene tomorrow.
At the Sri Lanka Freedom Party meeting presided by President Maithripala Sirisena recently, it was decided that a proposal for a change in the electoral system with the 19th Amendment to the Constitution needs to be introduced. The President, who accepted this proposal, appointed a 5-member committee. The committee comprises of Dilan Pereira, Professor G.L. Piris, Nimal Siripala de Silva, Anura Predarshanayapa and Mahinda Samarasinghe. Speaking to Newsfirst, opposition leader Nimal Siripala de Silva said that the committee has drawn its attention towards changing the current election system and bringing in the electorate system. The proposal made to increase the number of MPs to 250 from the current number of 225 has also been taken into consideration. The SLFP says that it has discussed this matter with the United People's Freedom Alliance as well.
Welcome back to the news. Views were expressed on yesterday's Davos political program aired on our sister channel Sirsa TV that there is a sound legal framework in the country to take action against persons who misuse state wealth and property. Speaking on the program, attorney at law Lanka pointed out that all complaints over fraud and corruption have been stalled at the steps of the country's Attorney General and the Inspector General of Police.
The highlight of the program was the Money Laundering Act of Sri Lanka.
According to the Money Laundering Act of 2006, an SP or an ASP can lodge a case through the Attorney General in the High Court based on mere information. He or she does not require a complaint to be lodged with the police, who could act on information alone.
The ball is now in the court of the AG and the IGP. They need to announce to the public that they have the substantial information. The Attorney General and the Inspector General of Police need to make it public as to whether cases will be filed and the reasons for the delay.
However, during the recent past, a number of complaints over the amassing of wealth through illegal means and financial fraud were filed with the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption and the Police Financial Fraud Investigation Division. Yet, only former Minister Sahana Gunawardena was placed under custody. With only 4 days left of the new government's 100 days, the passports of many individuals have been temporarily impounded. According to the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, any citizen of the country has the opportunity to file a complaint to the police over any instance of an individual amassing wealth and property through illegal means. Under this act, the accused needs to prove before the High Court that the allegations made against him or her are baseless.
People who have any information must provide them to the Police Financial Intelligence Unit. But you must be clear and state that you are providing this information under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. Then the Police Financial Fraud Investigation Unit will take the required action. This is a very serious act. If money or wealth is earned in an illegal manner, and if by the look at the wealth you cannot assume that the individual can earn such an amount, the superintendent is bound, once his complaint is made, to provide that information to the High Court. This will only take a week's time. Once information is provided, there will be no bail provided and the arrest need to be made. It will be considered a crime that cannot be granted bail.
Newsfirst inquired from the police media spokesperson as to why there is a delay in apprehending suspects if there is a sound and strong legal framework.
The documents pertaining to several investigations have been provided to the Attorney General. He is analysing them at present. We are conducting investigations to provide any additional information and also seek advice on arresting suspects. These documents will be presented to the Attorney General. All these investigations are complex in nature and require time. There are certain juristic provisions relating to this. If we are to prove these allegations without any reasonable doubt, we need to conduct the investigation successfully without any political interference.
Meanwhile, former Chief Executive Officer of CSN, Nishant Ranatunga, was summoned before the Police Financial Fraud Investigation Division today.
Nishant Ranatunga, who was summoned to the division to provide a statement, was questioned for over 1.5 hours. I was asked to be here today. A complaint was made by the National Movement for a Just Society and Anand Vijaypala, the director of the Anti-Corruption Secretariat. They wanted to confirm the ownership of CSN and also know as to whether any tax concessions were provided. They said that as I served as the Chief Executive Officer, they needed to record a statement. I provided them with all the details.
Take a look at one of our headline-making stories tonight. 10 persons were victims of an acid attack in the Rukmale area in Attanagala after an altercation that took place during a game of LA escalated.
This LA game had taken place last evening. It was reported that a group had assaulted a boy from the village during this game.
A child came and said that they were beating his uncle. At that moment, the youth here also went there.
Another group had attempted to inquire over the incident were met with an acid attack. Villagers said that a stabbing had also taken place during the incident.
He he intervened. I only saw the acid. I do not know what happened later. We went to the police to complain about this and they detained my husband and sent him to Mahara.
මෙම ඇසිඩ් ප්‍රහාරය එල්ල කරන ලද සැකකරුව පොලිසිය අත්අඩංගුවට ගෙන තිබෙනවා. ඒ වගේම
The police has arrested the suspect who carried out the acid attack. The individual who assaulted the other two persons was also arrested by the police. The suspect is believed to be the husband of one of the persons injured from the acid attack.
ස්වාමි පුරුෂයා බවටයි වාර්තා වන්නේ.
10 persons who were victims of the acid attack and 3 others who sustained stab wounds were admitted to the Watapitiwala and Gampa hospitals. Police said that an acid used in the production of rubber had been used for the attack.
දැනට අත්අඩංගුවේ පසු
The two suspects were produced before the Atanagalda magistrate today. They were placed in remand custody until the 24th of this month.
27 වන දින දක්වා රක්ෂිත බන්ධනාගාරගත කර තිබෙනවා.
Staying in local news now, 30 trees in the forest reserve close to the Ranavaranava paddylands in Lunugambehera have been felled by a certain group.
Cologne, Halmila and teak trees which were planted in a plot of land belonging to the irrigation department were thus felled.
We lodged a complaint with the police citing that 15 trees were found uprooted. And when we returned from the police after lodging the complaint, they were in the process of cutting down more trees. We took the ones who were cutting down the trees to the police. The police took them into their custody. We were told that the trees were cut down under the directives of Upul Nishanta, a member of the Pradeshia Sabha.
Vijit Vijay Munisoiza, the Minister of Irrigation, visited the Lunugambehera Reserve office yesterday and inspected the stock of timber.
This is state property. Action has not been taken to make any arrests. We will also look into the matter as to whether the irrigation officials were informed to take the required action over this. They were handed over to the Wildlife Conservation Department, yet they have not taken any action. This is the timber that was felled.
The felling of such large trees is considered a national crime, not because of the high price its timber fetches, but because of the destruction caused to the forests. Newsfirst inquired about this matter from the Divisional Secretariat of Lunugambehera. We have received a report that large-scale forest destruction is taking place in the Ranavaranava Forest Reserve in Lunugambehera. Have you been informed of it?
The Gram Niladhari officer conducted an investigation. Afterwards, it was confirmed that the timber was from a state-owned land. We have informed the police in this regard.
Did you not take any measures to prevent this destruction?
We have to inform the police of this in order to prevent the destruction.
Haven't the police been informed?
Not yet.
You are not aware of what had happened.
I am not sure of what happened afterwards.
Is there any connection of a local politician to this?
I am not sure of that.
When inquired, the Office of the Police Media spokesperson said that investigations in this regard have been handed over to the Department of Wildlife Conservation. A 4-vehicle collision was reported on the Colombo-Chilao main road while a road marathon was taking place.
The accident took place this morning. The collision began when the three-wheeler driver had abruptly stopped his three-wheeler to watch the marathon race, resulting in 3 other vehicles that came from behind crashing into each other. 2 persons who sustained injuries in the accident were admitted to hospital. Meanwhile, a vehicle in which Jaffna District MP Appature Vinayagamurthy was travelling in met with an accident in the Muhudukatuwa area in Maravilla on the Colombo-Chilao main road. The politico's car had collided with a van. No casualties were reported.
Now, due to the dilapidated state of a bridge on the Navagathegama road in Putlam, residents of several villages in its vicinity are compelled to make a journey across this bridge as if it was their last.
This bridge, which was well constructed on the Navagathegama Ralapanava road in Putlam 22 years ago, was washed away by floodwaters last December. However, as locals in the area did address the matter to the relevant officials, it has fallen onto deaf ears.
Even during a period when we are able to produce a good harvest, there is no way for a vehicle to come and purchase it. Not even a three-wheeler can travel on this. I am the person who rushes the people living along this road when they are sick for medication. At times I have to come at about 12 or 1 in the morning. Even then, the patient has to get off the vehicle when crossing this bridge. Floods or not, it is the same.
එහෙම තමයි යන්නේ.
The bridge, constructed under the Janasavia Trust Fund, comes to the use of nearly 150 families of the Ralapanawa village. The matter goes from bad to worse, as when night falls and with the absence of electricity power in the area, locating a part of the bridge which was washed off is impossible. Locals say that this is a recipe for disaster. The residents in the area request the authorities to reconstruct this bridge, which has become a death wish for anyone crossing it.
And in business news tonight, the Central Bank of Sri Lanka has decided to relax its policy interest rates. Accordingly, the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka had decided to reduce the policy interest rates by 50 basis points.
The Central Bank of Sri Lanka notes that the current behaviour of market interest rates is viewed to be inconsistent with the continued low inflation and investments needed to address concern on economic growth for the year. The central bank predicts that the inflation rate had dropped to 0.1% at present and will not exceed 5% throughout the year. The CBSL adds that it hopes to further release the policy interest rates in order to strengthen the private sector credit, which attributes to the development of the economy. The CBSL goes on to say that as expected, there appears to be a sustained increase in credit granted by commercial banks to the private sector, with the growth of the private sector credit rising to 12.6%. Accordingly, the standing deposit facility rate and the standing lending facility rate of the central bank are reduced to 6% and 7.5% respectively, with effect from today.
Madhushka, it's always good to see a head of state lightening up, having a light moment there. And Obama is no stranger to light moments.
Yeah.
He always has the political face of seriousness, but he's also able to let go.
Our head of state do a little bit of baila myself. But yeah, with that, we wrap up this edition of Primetime News. I'm Madhushka Balasuri.
And I'm Mahina Bongzo. Thank you very much for joining us. Take care and good night.
Good night.